Hey friends, today's story is dark, twisted, and full of suspense. A pregnant woman gets trapped inside a house and someone out there is hunting her. Will she escape or become his next victim? Let's find out. The movie begins with a couple, Natalie and Matt, spending some sweet time together. Natalie, originally from Spain, is told by Matt, an American, that she should move with him to the US. He promises to talk to his parents and make it work. Natalie seems thrilled by the idea. But suddenly, the room's lights flicker strangely, and she turns to see Matt's lifeless body, the result of a terrible accident. She wakes up crying. It was just a dream. In reality, Matt is dead, and Natalie is left alone carrying his unborn child. She lives by herself now, still grieving. Outside, she overhears a few women talking about her, saying she's become mentally unstable since her husband's death, that she barely steps outside or speaks to anyone. Natalie feels hurt. But looking at a photo of Matt, she decides it's time to move on. 8 months pass. Now heavily pregnant, Natalie is working again as a real estate agent. She visits a massive property that hasn't been sold in years. Locals believe it's haunted. Determined to prove otherwise, she explores the place. The house is huge, with stunning mountain views from the roof. She's confident she can sell it. While walking through a corridor, she spots a strange button. When she presses it, an old elevator reveals itself. The place also has a rundown wing that looks like a forgotten ruin. She begins cleaning, preparing the house in case a buyer arrives. Later, she calls her mother, who warns her that she shouldn't be working in this condition. If labor starts, the baby could come any minute, her mother says. But Natalie is firm. She promised her boss she'd sell the house today. She's the only female agent in the firm and one of their best performers. Her boss believes in her. Later, she walks into the bathroom and breaks down in tears. Still haunted by Matt's memory, even now, her love for him hasn't faded. Just then, someone knocks on the door. Natalie assumes it's a client and heads over, but when she opens it, there's no one there. Confused, she steps outside, looks around, nothing. She locks the door and walks back in, but suddenly, she notices someone already inside the house. A man is standing there, claiming to be a client. She wonders how he got in, but brushes it off. The man says he saw the for sale sign outside and came to check the property. Natalie starts showing him around, explaining that the house has 2 stories and a solid structure. With a little renovation, it could be perfect. But the man seems oddly familiar with the place, as if he already knows it. He then asks her, what happened to the previous owners? Natalie hesitates, then reveals the truth. Years ago, the owners were murdered here, and the killer still hasn't been caught. The man smirks slightly and says he feels like their spirits might still be wandering the house. He claims he's already sensed something. Natalie, clearly uncomfortable, brushes it off and tells him she doesn't believe in ghosts. As the evening turns darker, she politely asks the man to leave. He steps out and she quickly locks the door behind him. Natalie heads to her car, but it won't start. Frustrated, she goes back inside and calls a mechanic, who tells her he'll come soon. While waiting, she decides to kill time and walks over to an old piano in the house. She starts playing. Suddenly, another knock at the door. She checks again. No one's there. This time, the air feels heavier. She walks back in, but now, eerie music starts playing from another room. Startled, she follows the sound, only to find the music player somehow turned on by itself. She turns it off. Then, her phone rings. She picks up, but no one speaks. All she hears is the sound of heavy breathing on the other end. She asks, who's there? No response. The call abruptly ends. Shaken, she walks into the kitchen for a glass of water. But what she doesn't see is a dark shadow standing behind her in the distance, watching. She's not alone, and she doesn't even know it yet. As soon as Natalie senses that someone might be inside the house, she quickly turns around. But there's no one there. Whoever it was is gone. Just then, the mechanic shows up at the window, and she rushes out to show him the car. While working on it, he casually asks, this place still hasn't sold? Natalie sighs. No buyers yet. That's when the mechanic says something unsettling. He's heard stories about this house, that whoever buys it ends up dead. That's why no one dares to buy it anymore. Natalie suddenly asks him if he was the same man who was bothering her earlier, but the mechanic looks confused. I just got here, he says, and she can tell he's not lying. Then he makes another chilling discovery. Someone had cut one of the car's wires. This wasn't an accident. It was done on purpose. Just then, Natalie feels sick and rushes to the bathroom to throw up. She holds her belly and gently talks to her unborn baby. We'll get through this night together, she whispers, trying to stay strong. Meanwhile, out by the car, as the mechanic works, a shadowy figure approaches him. And in a flash, it attacks, killing him brutally. Back inside, the power suddenly goes out. Natalie lights a candle and slowly walks down into the basement, heart pounding. There, she finds a narrow tunnel she hadn't noticed before. Disturbed, she quickly shuts the basement door and heads outside to check on the mechanic, but he's gone, vanished. Confused and now terrified, she hears something, a noise coming from upstairs. She slowly climbs up to check, but no one's there. Then, she hears water running in the bathroom. Maybe the mechanic came in? She calls out, but there's no answer. She opens the door empty. She turns off the tap and steps out. Suddenly, the lights flicker violently. As the power returns, she starts walking through the corridor, and in the shadows behind her, we see it. Someone is there, watching her. Then, she hears the soft, eerie tune of a music box. She walks toward the window and spots the music box placed outside. But before she can react, her eyes lock on something horrifying. The mechanic's body, lying in a pool of blood, mutilated. She gasps, and at that moment, her labor pain begins. She realizes now there's a killer in the house, and he's not letting her leave. Panicked, she hears footsteps approaching. She runs straight to the terrace, trying to climb up for safety, but the pain is too much. Instead, she grabs a sharp brick for protection and heads back inside. She calls the old elevator up, but just as the doors open, he's there, the man from earlier, the so-called client. Natalie instantly hits the button and begins descending in the lift, but he races down the stairs trying to catch her. As the lift reaches the ground floor, he lunges in and grabs her, but Natalie slashes his face with the sharp brick. He screams and falls back. She hits the button again to go down, but suddenly he leaps up and shuts down the elevator. Now stuck, she forces the doors open and climbs out, but her foot gets caught. She's in pain. Her sandal falls, and just in time, the elevator crashes down. Natalie, bruised but alive, manages to escape the shaft. She rushes outside in panic and jumps into her car. But no matter how many times she tries, the engine won't start. Desperate, she runs to the client's car, only to find that it too refuses to start. Inside, she finds something chilling, the client's ID card. It reads Parker Kent, but the date of birth is shockingly old. Her eyes widen. Something doesn't add up. Before she can react, she turns around and sees him, the client, standing right in front of her. She freezes in fear and bolts back into the house. But he follows, saying coldly, "You can't escape me. I know this house 10 times better than you do. I've lived here for years. This is my home. No one else is welcome here." That's when it hits her. All the previous homeowners didn't just die, they were murdered, and he was behind it all along. Panicking, Natalie locks every door and rushes to call the police, but the line is dead. She searches a cupboard and finds an old map of the house. It shows a secret tunnel in the basement that leads outside. Without wasting a second, she heads down and crawls into the tunnel. Eventually, she reaches a metal grate, but it's so narrow she can barely squeeze through. Her upper body makes it out, but her stomach is stuck. That's when she hears something, a sound. She turns her head and sees him crawling toward her, slithering like a serpent. Terrified, she pushes herself harder, finally breaking free and escaping through the grate. She runs back into the house and manages to reconnect the telephone line. This time, she gets through to the police and begs them to come quickly. But before she can breathe, the killer breaks in again and starts searching the house. He heads upstairs, unaware that Natalie is hiding. Just as he lowers his guard, she attacks, tackling him out the window. Both crash to the ground below and lie unconscious. When Natalie opens her eyes, she sees him still knocked out. Quietly, she tries to get up and escape, but suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through her leg. A piece of glass has pierced her foot. She pulls it out, barely holding back screams of pain. As she tries to run, her liver pain flares up again, and she collapses, unconscious. Hours later, she wakes up to the sight of 2 police officers. One helps her into the car, while the other goes inside to investigate. But then, a scream. The killer ambushes the officer. When the cop outside tries contacting his partner, there's no response. He locks Natalie inside the car and runs in to check. Moments later, gunshots. Natalie now knows they're both dead. Panicking, she looks around and spots a shotgun in the car. With no key, She bends the mesh divider and somehow pulls the gun toward her. Then, boom! She shoots the window, shattering it, and escapes the car. But the killer has also armed himself with one of the officer's guns. He's hunting her. Natalie stumbles into the ruined part of the house, bleeding, broken, and then her contractions begin. Yes, she's giving birth. In the middle of all the chaos, she delivers a baby boy. As she holds him, she remembers his father, the peaceful moments they shared. Tears stream down her face. In this house of horror, amid bloodshed and death, a new life is born. But no matter what, she had to save her baby. So without hesitation, she steps out and shoots the killer. But right after pulling the trigger, she collapses and falls unconscious. When she opens her eyes, she finds herself in a hospital. The doctor tells her that her baby is safe and takes her to see him. But that's not all. They need her to identify the man who attacked her. She's also informed that the same man is in the hospital under police custody. Natalie is taken in for identification, and as soon as she sees him, she confirms he's the one who murdered the cops and tried to kill her. Deep down, she wants to slice his throat right there. But with the police watching, she controls herself. Later, she returns to her room. Suddenly, alarms start blaring. Natalie senses something's wrong. She rushes to the upper floor, only to find the cops dead and the killer missing. He sneaks up behind her and tries to shoot, but Natalie dodges and survives. As he charges toward her, she attacks him. The killer screams that he'll kill her and her baby. Horrified, she runs to her child. Thankfully, the baby is still safe, but before she can relax, the killer storms in. He grabs her by the throat and tries to strangle her, but Natalie doesn't give up. She grabs a surgical knife and slashes his throat. Then she stabs him over and over until he's finally dead. Holding her baby close, she walks away, and that's how this terrifying story ends. A mother who turned into a killer just to protect her child. But here's the twist. That man was living inside the walls of that very house. He used hidden spaces to spy on everyone. Whenever someone moved in, he'd wait and kill them. People thought the house was haunted, but the truth was far worse. There were no ghosts, just a psychopath lurking in the shadows. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay scared.